It's something I've noticed time again. Incredibly knowledgeable people, uh, consultants, coaches, therapists, educators, they have so much expertise,
Mm-hmm.
stuff that could genuinely transform lives, transform businesses.
Mm.
But making that leap from just having the knowledge
Yeah.
to building a real, thriving, scalable business around it.
Yeah, that's where things often get tricky.
Exactly. That's where people get stuck. It feels like, I don't know, trying to build a house without any kind of blueprint.
That's a really good analogy, actually, and it kind of sets the stage perfectly for what we're digging into today.
Right.
We're looking at the very beginning stages of a 6-week mastermind program. It's designed to be that blueprint.
Okay.
It's built on this framework called the 5 Ps for building a knowledge brand. Indota and Tellini developed it, produced by Value First Brand Incubator. It's really a systematic way to turn expertise into a sustainable business.
So this deep dive is like an insider's look. At week one, the groundwork.
Precisely. Think of it that way. What happens right at the start?
Because, look, whether you're a consultant trying to grow or maybe a coach just starting out, a therapist wanting to reach more people online, an educator looking to boost your impact, that initial step, assessment and getting clear, it's fundamental.
Absolutely fundamental. Doesn't really matter what your field is. These core ideas, they're meant to work across the board.
Okay, so you mentioned the 5 Ps. Can you give us a quick rundown? What are they?
Sure. So the 5 Ps are, first, pitch basically how clearly you talk about what you do and who you help.
Okay.
Then publish, that's about consistently sharing your ideas, your insights. Product, how you actually package your knowledge into things people can buy, offerings.
Right.
Then profile, building your visibility, your reputation in your field.
Makes sense.
And the last one is partnership, strategically working with other people, collaborating.
Got it. Pitch, publish, product, profile, partnership. So this first week, we're focusing on what's the mission?
Week one's mission is crystal clear, assessment and getting clear. Simple as that. It's really about taking a good, honest look at where you are right now and then building a really solid strategic foundation for everything else that comes later in the program.
And I understand there's an example used throughout to make it more concrete.
Yes, exactly. What's really helpful is how the program uses a practical case study. So throughout our chat, we'll be mentioning Tandi.
Tandi. Okay.
Yeah, she's a local pastor, and she's making a shift. She's moving into becoming an online relationship counselor.
Oh, interesting.
Her focus is very specific: young couples, people heading towards marriage, and newlyweds.
Okay, so her field is relationship counseling. But you're saying the principles still apply even if, say, I'm a business consultant.
Absolutely. That's the key takeaway. While Tandi's focus might feel different from what, you, the listener, might do, the 5 Ps framework itself, it's designed to be relevant no matter your knowledge area.
Right.
So as we walk through what happens in week one, keep Tandi in mind, but always be thinking, okay, how does this apply to my situation?
Good advice. So week one starts. What's the first thing people get?
So right off the bat, participants get a pretty comprehensive workbook.
Okay, a workbook.
Yeah, and it's not just reading material, it's really a tool. It guides them through their initial thinking, their exploration, and the idea is they actually work through several exercises before the first live session even happens.
Ah, okay. So there's pre-work involved. Why do that? Why not just jump into the live call?
That's a great question. And the pre-work, it actually serves a few key purposes. First, that makes sure everyone shows up to that first session with a basic grasp of the 5 Ps framework.
Right, gets everyone on the same page.
Exactly.
Right.
So we can skip the basic definitions and jump straight into how to apply it. But maybe even more importantly, it forces participants to do some critical self-reflection right away. They have to take an honest look at where they think their strengths are and what challenges they're facing right now across each of those 5 areas.
That makes a lot of sense. You can't really map out where you're going until you know exactly where you're starting from, can you?
Precisely. And the workbook also helps with goal setting. It guides them to set specific goals for the whole 6 weeks. What do they actually want to implement?
Ah, so it's very action-oriented.
Very action-oriented. It's not just theory. And finally, it gets them thinking about a realistic schedule. How will they actually do the work each week? So it sets them up for making real progress.
Okay, so the very first exercise in this workbook, it's a self-assessment. The quick 5 Ps scorecard. Tell us about that.
Yeah, worksheet 1.1. It's designed just to give a quick snapshot, a baseline. For each P, pitch, publish, product, profile, partnership, they rate themselves. Scale of 1 to 10.
Okay, 1 to 10.
Gives them a quick sense of where they feel they stand in each area right now.
Okay, so let's break that down. For pitch, when they're giving themselves a score, what are they thinking about?
For pitch, they're looking at how well their current message actually lands with their ideal clients. Like, does it connect? And also, how unique is it? How memorable? You know, in a world full of noise, does their core message actually stand out? Does it stick?
Right.
Often what happens is people focus too much on what they do, not the client's actual pain points. This pushes them to think, does my message really hit their needs?
That's a really crucial distinction.
Yeah.
Okay, what about publish? What goes into that score?
With publish, it shifts to their content. How consistent are they? Are they regularly putting out valuable stuff?
Right.
And does that content actually show off their expertise? Does it make them look knowledgeable? And maybe most importantly, is anyone engaging with it? Is it sparking conversation? Building a bit of a following?
So it's not just shouting into the void.
Exactly. Whether you're, a coach sharing tips on LinkedIn, a therapist writing blog posts, an educator making quick videos, consistency and connection are key.
Right. Connection. Okay, then product. How do they assess that?
For product, they're looking at how they've structured and packaged their knowledge. Have they turned it into actual, tangible services, programs that people can easily get and use? And they also really need to think about scalability. Is their current business model mostly just trading their time for money? Or have they started creating things that can reach more people without needing them one-on-one every single time?
Scalability, that's huge.
It's huge. And Tandy's realization about this is pretty common. Making beyond just one-on-one lets you have a much bigger impact and potentially earn more. It's a vital shift for a knowledge business to really thrive.
Definitely a critical factor for growth. Okay, next is profile. What's being assessed there?
Profile looks at their overall visibility and reputation. Like, how easy is it for the right people, their ideal clients, to actually find them?
Okay.
How established do they seem in their particular industry or niche? And what about their online presence, website, social media? Does it represent them well? Does it attract the people they want to attract? Is their digital footprint helping or hurting?
Lots to consider there. And the last one, partnership. What's the score based on here?
Partnership is all about their professional network. How strong is it? How effectively are they collaborating with others, people in complementary fields, perhaps? Are those collaborations actually beneficial for everyone involved? And maybe a key sign of good partnerships. How many referrals are they getting? Are they using connections to grow?
Okay, so they score themselves on all 5 Ps. Then what?
After the scores, there's a really key reflection question. Based on those numbers, which area, maybe 1 or 2, needs the most urgent attention? And crucially, why?
The why.
Yeah, it's not just about picking the lowest number. It's about understanding the reason behind it and thinking about the impact focusing there could have.
So for 10D, our example past returning counselor, what did her scorecard show initially?
Teddy's first scores were, pitch was a 4, publish a 3, product was pretty low at 2, profile was a bit better at 5, and partnership was a 4.
Okay, so product was the lowest.
Right. And based on that and the reflection, she pinpointed product as the area needing the most immediate focus for her.
And why product specifically for her? What was the thinking?
Well, as the workbook guides them to think about, Tandy realized that if she could develop online programs, online resources, she could reach so many more people.
Right. Break free from just local in-person limits.
Exactly. Scale her impact way beyond just her immediate area. That potential leverage from digital products. That was the big driver for her focus.
Okay, so the scorecard gives that quick snapshot.
Yeah.
What comes next to get a deeper understanding?
That leads right into worksheet 1.2, which is called Your Starting Point Story.
Okay.
This takes those initial scorecard thoughts and goes deeper. It uses more open-ended questions to help them really spell out their current business story.
What kinds of questions are we talking about here?
Well, first, they have to clearly define the specific knowledge or expertise they want to scale up, really nail down their core value. Then, they get really specific about who they want to help. Describe that ideal audience in detail. It's not just small businesses. It might be, say, female founders in the first 3 years of their SaaS startup. That level of detail.
Yeah, knowing your niche makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Huge. Then they think about the specific problems that audience has, the stuff their expertise actually solves.
Hmm.
This shifts the focus from just listing services to highlighting the results, the transformations.
Okay.
Another big question is about what makes their approach unique. Their perspective, their method. What's their secret sauce, really? What sets them apart? That's often where the real advantage
Yeah,
lies.
that's where the compelling value often hides.
Exactly. Then the worksheet gets them to state their main business goals for the next, say, 6 to 12 months. That starts connecting today with where they want to be, gives direction.
Hmm.
And finally, they identify the specific roadblocks. What's currently limiting their impact or their income? Naming those challenges is the first step to tackling them later in the mastermind.
So bring it back to Tandi. What did her starting point story look like?
Well, for expertise, she focused on practical communication tools for couples in those early years.
Right.
Her ideal audience, like we said, young couples, pre-engaged, first 5 years of marriage. The problems she solves: communication breakdowns, trouble aligning values, building that strong foundation.
And her unique angle.
Her uniqueness came from blending spiritual principles with modern psychology, a practical, holistic mix. She also stressed the tangible exercises she gives couples.
Okay, and her goals and obstacles.
Goals were things like building a full online program, reaching, I think, 100 clients outside her local area, getting significant income from online within a year.
Ambitious.
Yeah. And her limitations, pretty clear. Time constraints from her current work, being geographically stuck, and just lacking the systems to scale online effectively.
Okay, so they've assessed where they are, they've articulated where they want to go. The next logical step seems like setting some actual goals, which brings us to worksheet 1.3, 6-week implementation goals.
Exactly right. Building on all that reflection, now they set specific, measurable goals, SMART goals for each of the 5 Ps, things they want to actually achieve during the 6 weeks of the mastermind itself.
Yep.
And the worksheet helps structure this. It has columns for your 6-week goal, then what success looks like, how will they know they hit it, and super important, first action step. What's the very first thing they need to do?
I really like that focus on the immediate first action. It must help stop people getting overwhelmed or just leaving goals as vague ideas.
That's absolutely the point. Break it down into something manageable you can do right now. Creates momentum from day one.
So let's look at Tandi's examples again. What was her 6-week goal for pitch?
For pitch, Tandi's goal was create a clear and compelling message for my online relationship counseling services.
Okay. And success.
Success looked like having a concise pitch that resonated, clearly stated the problem she solves, and the results people get. Her first action: simple. Just list the problems her audience faces and the results she delivers.
Basic, but yeah, foundational. What about her publish goal?
For Publish, she aimed to create and schedule at least 4 weeks of consistent content. Success meant having 8 pieces ready to go, scheduled like 2 per week.
And the first step?
First step was to brainstorm, list at least 20 potential topics based on common questions she gets in counseling.
Makes sense. Now, product, her priority area. What was the goal there?
Her 6-week product goal was to develop a comprehensive outline for my first online relationship program. Success: having a complete outline modules, learning objectives, initial ideas for exercises.
Okay. And the first action for that?
First action was research. Go find out what her target audience is actually searching for online regarding relationship help.
Smart. Ensure it meets a real need. What about her profile goal?
For profile, Tandi wanted to update and optimize all my key online profiles to reflect her new online focus. Success meant a consistent professional look across LinkedIn, her future website, anywhere else relevant.
First action.
Just update her LinkedIn headline and bio first. Get that aligned.
Good starting point. And finally, partnership. What was her goal there for the 6 weeks?
Her partnership goal was to identify and research at least 10 potential strategic partners serving a similar audience. Success was having that list, contact info, maybe some initial ideas for collaboration.
And the first step?
Just brainstorm. List professionals or groups already working with young couples, pre-weds, newlyweds.
Okay, wow. So by the end of that, they really have a concrete plan for the mastermind period, broken down by P with immediate next steps.
Exactly, a much clearer roadmap. But the week 1 work isn't quite done yet. There's also worksheet 1.4, resource inventory and week-specific time blocking.
Resource inventory. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, this helps participants see what they already have to work with. They list their skills, tools they own, their existing network, any content they've already made, even financial resources they can allocate.
So it's about recognizing existing assets.
Right. It stops them feeling like they're starting completely from scratch, builds a bit of confidence, identifies building blocks they might already have.
Yeah, I can see how that would help prevent feeling totally overwhelmed.
Totally. And the second part of that worksheet is crucial, especially for week one time blocking. They create a specific schedule for this week, dedicated just to doing these assessment tasks and reviewing materials.
Proactive scheduling.
Yep. Make sure they actually carve out the time for this foundational work.
So what did Tandy's resource inventory look like, roughly?
She listed things like her counseling experience, public speaking skills, relationship knowledge. Tools were her laptop, phone, some basic recording gear from sermons, Zoom. Network was her church community, pastoral connections, past clients. Content included old sermon notes, premarital worksheets, teaching stuff. And financially, she'd set aside, I think it was 4,000 Rand specifically for business development.
Okay. And how did she block out her time for that first week of assessment?
She was pretty specific.
Good.
Like Monday morning was purely for filling out the assessment worksheets. Tuesday afternoon, reviewing existing materials through the 5Ps lens.
Right.
Wednesday morning, research competitors online. Thursday afternoon, really nail down those 6-week goals. And Friday morning was set aside just to review everything and prep questions for the first live session.
That sounds like a really structured, focused way to kick things off. Sets a good tone.
It's absolutely vital. So by the time they actually join that first live Zoom call, the idea is they're ready. Ready to talk about their assessment results, any surprises, ready to share their priority P, talk about challenges they expect, and of course, ask good questions about the whole framework and the plan.
So this whole first week is truly about laying that essential groundwork, understanding the framework, assessing the current state, setting initial goals, taking stock of resources.
Precisely. Get that clear, honest picture of the starting line and set a strategic direction before diving deep into the tactics for each P in the following weeks.
It's like doing a really thorough pre-flight check before you even think about taking off. Make sure all systems are checked, you know your destination, you have a flight plan.
That's a perfect analogy. Understand your current altitude, clarify your destination, and get the initial tools and insights you need for the journey ahead, building that successful, impactful knowledge business.
And you gave a little hint about week 2. What's the focus shift to then?
Yeah, week 2 moves into crafting your perfect pitch because, well, having that clear, compelling message is just so fundamental for attracting the right people. So that becomes the next big focus.
Makes sense. You need to know what to say before you start publishing or building products around it.
Exactly.
Okay. So for you, the listener, maybe take a second to think about this. Where in your own expertise could a more structured approach, like this assessment phase, really amplify your reach, your impact? And maybe what's just one tiny action, one small step you could take today, even without the workbook, just to start assessing your own 5Ps? That little bit of focused thought, it could be the start of your own deep dive into building something really meaningful.